Welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bring you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. It's a Thursday night, folks, and it's the Fanatical Elfz Show on the Fanatical Elfz Network. I'm John Suchan, that's Steve Gill, and that's Sam Britton. Good evening, gentlemen. The weather report we start with on the Fanatical Elfz Show. Thursday night, Sam, what's the weather like down there? And I think he's reporting from Dallas.
It's getting colder, though. We had a big cold front blowing in. It's like 20-mile-an-hour winds right now. So it's going to get chillier, but then it'll go right back up. We're in kind of our last month right now until it gets into the 90s and the hundreds. So we're enjoying
forever.
our last month and a half before we start melting.
Yes. Well, we will wait for that melting. I'm glad the roller coaster of weather. Steve, I imagine it's the same there in Nashville.
Oh, yeah. It's like 80 degrees right now, but it's not humid. So that's good. No rain, which is bad because the pollen is incredibly bad here this time of year. I mean, when it gets to me, that means it's bad. I don't like it, but I'm mostly inside. So
doing taxes, folks.
Doing taxes. My brain is mush. I'm calling people, come pick them up. They're done. I've got a nice stack to work on this weekend. All weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I always work on Easter.
Do the people that aren't picking them up, are they the ones that owe money?
Mostly? No, not necessarily. No, they just got to find time to get over here. I mean, I delivered too. I have a client who lives in Lewisburg, which is really south.
Oh.
And they meet me in Brentwood. And then another gentleman, he's 100 years old. He used to drive and meet me in Brentwood, but he fell and broke his leg, so I took it to his house.
Oh, no. I thought maybe you can stop paying taxes when you hit 100. Is that not really how it works? No.
Not if you're, collecting a pension. I mean, he's a nice guy. He was in the Navy.
Good.
He was a signalman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was off the coast of Okinawa and Guam. So, yeah.
Wow.
One of my late father's longtime clients.
Very nice.
Great guy.
Speaking of, you were talking about being bad. LeBron, you mentioned earlier before we came on the air.
I love LeBron.
LeBron James.
I loved LeBron before. Now
he doesn't like Memphis, though. He doesn't like Memphis for some reason.
Who does?
Now, I've rolled through there. I got some barbecue there the last one time I ran through there with my kids. I mean, I literally ran. It's Memphis, so, but.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
Good.
Nothing. Right, it means nothing. I just kept running.
You better be running.
I was like Forrest Gump.
Well, Memphis has got its attractions. If you like Elvis,
Elvis, yeah. I mean, you got Elvis.
And if you like the blues, you can go down to Beale Street. There's a nice section of town. And if you want to go see the Ducks, you can go to Peabody Hotel and watch the Ducks come down the elevator and walk out and
Ducks.
Go into you've never heard of the Peabody Hotel Ducks?
No.
They're kept up on the roof of the hotel. And
Ducks.
They're ducks. Yeah, Ducks. They go up and get them. They bring them down the elevator, and then they parade through the lobby, and there's a big fountain, and then they all jump in the fountain.
Then how do they
look it up?
How do they retrieve them? How do they
At a certain time, the guy who takes care of them comes along and makes a little noise. They jump out of the fountain, head back to the elevator, and they go up to their pens on the roof.
That is hilarious.
I know it is. It's interesting to see. I went there for an event, a museum event with the Vanderbilt Alumni Association, and we stopped and had a couple cocktails in the bar in Peabody Hotel before we went to the museum. And watch the Peabody Ducks.
That's really cool. Now, LeBron did mention your alma mater.
Yes, he did. He said, why don't they move the Grizzlies to Nashville? It's got everything. It even has Vanderbilt. I loved LeBron before. Now I love him even more.
Now, unlike LeBron, which most Cleveland fans love or have loved, the Haslams, the owners of the Browns, came out. Jimmy came out again earlier in the week, and he basically changed his language and switched. He a year ago said that they had swung and missed.
A couple of years ago, it was a swing and a miss
with Deshaun, and early in the week he comes out and he says, "We're going to give him a fresh start." Or he's got that opportunity. He's getting a fresh start. So, Steve, how do you feel about that?
Nothing's changed. I think this is more of Jimmy Haslam trying to repair his reputation, not only with football fans and Browns fans, but with other owners who make fun of him because of that $240 million guaranteed contract, which he insisted on giving Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was. All he said was he's getting a fresh start. He could, one of those Mary Kay words, he could go from a swing and a miss. Oh, no, he said he had the chance to go to another Mary Kay word, to go from a swing and a miss to a home run. That's all.
But okay, Sam,
look, let me just say one more thing.
Okay,
I said last Thursday and the Thursday before, and I've said on my own podcast every Sunday that I've been told Todd Moken wants to kick the tires on Deshaun Watson to see what he's got left in the tank. So we are talking about a guy who hasn't played a full season since 2020. Who has had 3 ACLs, 2 Achilles tears, and a reconstructed shoulder injury. So you tell me what kind of chance you think he has. Slim to slimmer.
Couldn't agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. Sam, I want to hear your take on this and the comments this week by the owners.
Yeah, I mean, I think putting Deshaun Watson if you think your future is worth it, then you start Deshaun Watson because he will not be doing anything for you. He's the best player in the NFL right now if you want the number 1 overall pick. So he I don't even know how you consider football after tearing every ligament in your legs, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you tear you've torn ligaments 5 times in your knees.
Yes.
And your shoulder once. At some point, you got to be like, all right, clearly I can't handle this. Now, maybe that's just like a normal human thing, and maybe something that the NFL players don't think fully is. I mean, if I'm in the NFL, I'm going to do everything I can to stay in the NFL. But looking at it, it is very small chance. Now, if Shadur ends up not doing good, and then anyone we pick up ends up not doing good, and you're on your 3rd or 4th quarterback, then maybe you see Deshaun Watson play. But even then, I really don't think he's starting. I think he's just there because he has to be. I think if the Browns could get rid of him right now, you wouldn't even be able to blink and the button would have been pressed. So I think we're just basically waiting until that button is pressable, and then he's going to be gone.
So I talked to Lance Reisland, and thanks, Coach, for coming on my show last night. Lance is on a variety of shows here in Cleveland. He's on 92.3 The Fan. He also writes for Cleveland.com or The Plain Dealer. He's ex-coach, high school. His dad was a great coach at Garfield Heights. He was the coach after that. Anyway, we talked a lot about a lot of different things, including this topic. And we talked, Steve, about what you mentioned earlier about, his previous seasons and I mentioned too to him as well that really that 2018, 2019 season, those were his last 2 winning seasons. Now, I know that he had some winning back in 2023 here in Cleveland. 2020, he had a really good stats here, but his team sucked. So 2023, they started out 6-1,
No.
Yeah, he did.
He was 4-1. People want to say 5-1 because he started the Colts game and he went 1 for 5 for 5 yards and got hurt.
Okay. So he started out relative
4-1.
Well, right. All I'm saying is he started out relatively well. I think he's crap. I think he's done. I think everything that you've said already, Steve, about all the multiple injuries that he's had, all of this thing, I think it's just done. So and Lance talked about it last night, and I think you're on the same page as him when, Lance basically said, we're giving him a possibility of starting, like the ownership said. It's just not sitting well with so many fans. I'm one of them. I know there's a lot of frustration with fans not liking that the Haslam said one thing and then basically said something else. I granted that they have a new coaching staff, but it's just difficult for fans right now because the Browns are just, it's just a frustrating, and that's what I talked about too. I mean, the Haslams want to talk about this not being a dysfunctional organization. To me, I just feel like, him coming out and reversing course and saying, well, we're going to give him a fresh start after saying it was a swing and a miss.
He gets a fresh start. They're not
Okay.
giving him a fresh start. Giving a fresh start implies that the team is giving him. He
gets a fresh start. Okay.
Gets a fresh.
Okay.
See, that's the problem with
I get
Browns fans. One word in a sentence changes the whole context of that sentence. And as soon as I heard Jimmy Haslam say all that crap, I went, well, this is going to go way out of proportion because people don't listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
He's just trying to repair his reputation.
I agree with you.
It wouldn't hurt, and it wouldn't hurt because Watson's being a good soldier and not being obnoxious like OBJ and OBJ's father.
Yes.
He is sitting back and he's taking it. He knows he's going to be cut next year. He has a possibility if he plays along with this to be a number 2 quarterback in 2027. He's not going to be a number 2 quarterback in Cleveland. He's going to be number 3, and he's going to be the emergency quarterback.
You mentioned that last week, yeah.
He's not going to see the field unless, like Samuel says, the gods open up the thunderbolts, and we go through I hope we don't go through 5 quarterbacks again like we did in 2023. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I have a feeling I keep hearing he's not going to see the field.
Yeah.
So
no, I trust you.
I've
been saying this for. I support your. Yeah. Well, Sam, you're the other thing that came up in some of this conversation, and people have been talking about it here in Cleveland, especially, is Dylan Gabriel not kind of being around. Sam, are you worried about Dylan Gabriel? I mean, he's the other quarterback, not being supposedly around the action that Shador has been here. Deshaun is working out with Jerry Jeudy. We're not hearing a lot from Dylan Gabriel. Not that that's he doesn't have to be, but are you concerned about the fact, and do you think that Dylan Gabriel might be traded?
I don't know what you're going to get for Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he had his chance. He didn't do a whole lot. He just lost you some games. And so he was okay for a minute, but I don't know. It didn't feel like he really was the kind of guy we needed. And so, I mean, he was kind of just someone you picked up because he was there. Yeah. I don't think there was, but I don't know how to say this. I think realistically, you're not putting him in a spot where you're like, all right, we're going to use you, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of just there because you probably need quarterback depth.
Is he going to be with the Browns, you think, Sam? Or
probably this year. I think you might as well keep him. I mean, your quarterback room is pretty much up in the air past Shador being the starter because Shador really doesn't have any competition right now.
Yeah, but if you listen to the national outlets right now, they are all talking about.
Why are you listening to the national outlets?
I'm just saying there's a lot of people out there in the national media that are striking this narrative about Deshaun being the assumed starter.
And they also say that the Browns should take Tyler. I mean, what's his name at number 6?
I want to get into that now because
which is the most asinine thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know what national media you're hearing, John. All I hear is them talking about the Lakers.
That's
true. Very true.
So Mary Kay, your favorite person, Steve, and Steve and I talked about this earlier before we came on. I mean, Mary Kay. Here's the thing. It's kind of like one of those things where we've talked about this person, Mary Kay, and I talked to Lance, and Lance, I know he's a good friend of Mary Kay, works with Mary Kay at Cleveland.com, and they do the post-game shows and pre-game stuff with the Browns. So I want to be respectful, but Mary Kay comes off with some of the most ridiculous, takes, and obviously, Steve, you mentioned this. I mean, it's 4 clicks, but it's so absurd. I mean, her take this morning was basically take Tyler Simpson at number 6. Ken Carmen 92.3 asked, and she said, I think that we should take Tyler Simpson at 6. And her logic was, well, we should have taken Malik Willis back in the day. I'm like, what? Malik Willis is god awful. I know he just signed a ginormous contract or whatever to be the starter after sitting on his ass for the last 4 seasons, but I can't understand that. Steve, I'll let you start because I know you love Mary Kay. What do you think about Mary Kay and Tyler Simpson? And
just trying to make money off the gullible Browns fans. That's all she was trying to do. I agree with Nathan Zagura, who said today on Cleveland Browns Daily, can we just stop with the foolishness and get to the draft already? Because exactly. That's all this is ridiculous. Tyler Simpson at 6, Love at 6. No, come on. I heard Joe Thomas on that very same show the day before talking about, and he knows George Warthrop really well. They're good friends. He calls him the best offensive line coach in the league. So he's sitting there you go wide receiver tackle, and I agree with that. Okay. So I don't. Right now, we're just trying to generate. They're just trying to generate talking points, and they can't regurgitate the same talking points.
We're 3 weeks away, right?
Yeah, I know. My God, this is going to be the longest 3 weeks of my life. Luckily, I have tax season for 2 of those weeks, so that'll keep me.
It's kind of like not watching what's going on in the news. That's. You just try to kind of avoid all these things.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Just take a wide receiver. I mean, like I said, the only wild card in all this at 6, or maybe a slight trade down, is Caleb Downs. He's the only wild card because they like it. And why wouldn't they? I mean, it would solve their safety problem instantly. I mean, they'd have their 4 starting safeties. Boom.
Yeah. Now you were very much against that. I mean, initially, not very much.
I know, but you were. Yeah, I can understand. I'm still against it because I want a wide receiver, but I can understand the reasoning.
See, now the reasoning, like when I talked to Lance last night about
there is no reasoning in Tyler Simpson. There is no reasoning in Jeremiah Love.
I mean, Mary Kay said, I'll take him at number 6. If he's going to be there at number 24 and you really want him, why not take him at 6? Mary Kay, because there's like millions of dollars involved between 6 and 24 and a whole bunch of other reasons. You just don't think
he shouldn't be even taken in the first round.
Oh, hell no. No, hell no. No,
they shouldn't take him at 39 either.
Oh, I don't want him at all. I think there's other quarterbacks like a Drew Aller from Penn State. Interestingly enough, I did want to point this out. This is kind of funny. I don't think I mentioned this to you guys, but when I was talking to Lance, he coached at Garfield Heights, and guess who he scouted twice, and they had to play Medina twice, was Drew Aller. And Drew Aller actually beat St. Ignatius and St. Ed's in one season in back-to-back weeks. And so Lance was telling me last night that he was he's not completely shocked, but the idea that Drew Aller did not become more of a better college quarterback with the arm strength and some of these things, it was a bit surprising.
He went and played for James Franklin at Penn State. That would do it to anybody.
Now, did you hear this story? Sam, did you? I wanted to ask you that. I want to jump back to Deshaun just real quick. There was a story that came out I heard this week about Deshaun Watson and his inability to be really he's not a very smart guy, basically, is what they talked about. And they said that Bill O'Brien, and maybe Steve, you want to know more about this too, that Houston basically was covering all the deficiencies that basically Watson just isn't, besides all these other things that we're talking about with all the injuries for him, he's just not a very smart quarterback. And people don't really want to talk about that, but that's part of the reason why he's been inhibited. Do you see that, or have you heard any of that, Sam, down there in Texas? I know he played for Houston.
Not really. Okay. I mean, I never followed Houston, so I'm not sure. But no,
you're more of a Texas Rangers baseball fan.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not, and they've been doing pretty well. But no, I mean, yeah, I think he's I don't know if he's not that smart. I don't know. Football IQ is one of the harder things to tell. I'd say you can't, because it's not a physical trait, so you can't like point to it as like, oh yeah, he's small, right? He's short. He's not as strong. He's got his arms are shorter. His legs are a little more like stumpy, right? For like offensive linemen, wide receivers, right? He has long legs, so he's going to be able to run faster and have longer strides, bigger hands, things like that. You can't really like just pinpoint that and immediately know what that means for the player as a football IQ would. And so it's a little bit harder to tell what good football IQ looks like. Now, I think if you want top tier, I think Tom Brady's the greatest football IQ player in the world or of all time. I think that's probably the number one. But like, he made it so obvious of how good he was at being a football IQ type of guy, and so it's just a difficult thing to gauge because it isn't something you can immediately point to with just your eyes and be like, all right, this is going to affect him in this way. And so maybe he's not as smart as a quarterback. I don't know, but I don't think he's a dumb quarterback. He was the highest leading yard player in that year before he had his whole thing as a quarterback. So I think he has it. I just think something happened between
all the injuries,
him having that year. I think it was something happened that between him having that year and then all of the things that he dealt with that just broke something in him and just turned off that one little switch he needed.
I just lost my train of thought. I want to jump back, Steve. I have some questions. You go ahead and finish. I have a question for you.
He runs into a lot of sacks.
He does.
I mean, in 2020, he set a completion record for a season for a quarterback, and he said, I believe he was all close to tied a touchdown pass record, and then he also tied the sack record.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about football IQ, I would think that's where you start. I mean, you run into a lot of sacks, it don't help the team much.
No. What do you think about Munkin's take on he didn't talk a lot about it, but a little bit about film. People were talking about analyzing these guys, and specifically Deshaun, and he even was quoted as saying like didn't watch the film.
He's going to give everybody a fresh start. He doesn't want to see what they did under previous OCs. He doesn't want to see what Shador did last year or what he did for his father. He didn't want to see what Dylan Gabriel did last year or did at Oregon. He doesn't want to see what Deshaun Watson did under Bill O'Brien and all the other flunkies down there in Houston. So and besides, he's been kind of busy hiring his staff.
Well, he's getting his hair cut and missing photos, but
they moved it up and didn't tell anybody.
I know.
Sean McVay missed it too.
I know he did.
Everybody making fun of him. He's supposed to be some kind of freaking genius.
Well,
he doesn't even know how to tell time.
Somebody was saying that maybe he ducked out of the meeting because apparently they brought it up at the end of the one meeting and said, "Hey, everybody, hang tight." So did Munkin leave? He was there for the drinking party, so obviously he got
That's
that.
my
memo.
Kind of coach. Who wants their picture taken?
Let's pause.
Have a beer with a couple football coaches. Come on.
Let's pause for a quick commercial. I want to talk to you guys about some of these draft picks, the potential, some prospects that you guys are maybe analyzing, looking at, and are maybe excited about for the Browns. We'll be right back. Thanks for coming back to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Fanatical Elfz Network, part of Fans First Sports Network. And a shout out to Hemisphere Coffee Roasters, which Sam loves. Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They shake the hand of the farmer. Sam loves that coffee. He is a spokesperson for Hemisphere Coffee Roasters.
Basically, just need to become one, yeah.
I actually looked back up. Mechanicsburg is this little town to the north of Columbus, and that's where they produce Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. So great company. Go buy their coffee. All right, let me start. Sam, let me start with you. Do you have any guys that you've been looking at, through this process? We're 3 weeks away from the draft. We've talked a lot about the pick 6, picks 24, but the Browns have 9 picks. They have a lot of need at a lot of different areas, including wide receiver, cornerback, maybe linebacker, lineman. Are there some guys that you are anxious to see what the Browns do?
Yeah, I'd say one of the apologies. One of these kids, Skylar Bell out of UConn. He looks very interesting. I think if you picked him up, I would not be complaining at all. He had a really, really good season last year, 101 receptions, 1,200, almost 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find his games played so that I can better tell if he had problems with injury, but I don't think he has too much. And one of the other guys, if you are looking for someone who's high upside but probably more of a risk, is Chris Bell out of Louisville. He did have an injury, so he's a bit risky, but he's a good player. He's not a bad player.
We're talking wide receivers right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's wide receivers. I think that's important for this team, especially because you've already invested a lot. I think they're going to invest both of their first round picks in the offensive line, to be honest. I think that's
okay.
Or assuming that 6th round pick does not go to the wide receiver. I assume they will. If they don't get who's the Georgia guy, the super good guy? I can't remember his name.
Freeling.
No, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong guy. The
Fano?
The super good wide receiver who everyone wants.
I'm not sure. Well, Carnell Tate from
Ohio State. Him. I can't remember his name.
Not Georgia.
I apologize. Tate. If they don't pick up Tate, I think they're going to go offensive lineman on both 2 picks just to fill out the rest of that offensive lineman. But I think because I think offensive lineman is very, very important for this team, especially if you're trying to build a team where you can slot quarterbacks in to try and win that way, or to protect Shadur. And I mean, Chris Bell, he's good. He did deal with that injury, and so it is a bit of a risk in my opinion. But he's got the talent, he's got the physicality that's necessary. So I'd say either of those, if you want to look wide receiver 2nd round, would definitely be 2nd, 3rd round. I think if they fall, those are definitely someone you could be like, all right, I'm confident in this pick that I'm going to get good, solid talent out of it.
Steven, any wide receivers that he didn't mention that I know you've mentioned Chris Bell.
Just Tate and Lemon.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 guys that really, really are 1st round talent.
Yep.
Those 2 guys. One or the other, I'm perfectly happy. And they'll maybe take Fano at 24, which I'd be fine with that. And I think they're going to go DB at 39. I wanted D'Angelo Pons, but at the Indiana Pro Day, he ran a 4.31, so that's going to push him into the 1st round.
Yes.
There's another guy named Keith Abney, who's a defensive back. He's a perfect slot defensive back. So he might be around there.
The kid from South Carolina, the Cisse, I mentioned him last week.
Cisse.
And Lance and I talked about him. He was high on him. Also, the kid from Ohio State, Iga. Last name starts with an I. It's his cornerback.
Iga. The guy 2 years ago who got the most. Not personal fouls, pass interference penalties in Ohio State history. Igbinoza.
Yes.
Igbinoza. I wouldn't mind Igbinoza. He turned it around last year.
Lance has got him ranked number 7 on his board.
He cleaned himself up.
Yeah.
From one year to the next. I was very surprised.
The Buckeyes are going to be drafting a lot of players. Yeah.
If you're looking secondary, Bud Clark, the safety out of TCU.
Bud Clark, good.
Bud Clark, there you go.
Lance even talked about him. Yeah.
The Cowboys, I've heard that he's a good pick for the Cowboys.
Where is he from again?
What they want. TCU.
Local
kid. So he's definitely someone you could be like, all right, I think this guy's good. I think Bud
that
Clark
name sounds like an old person's name, Bud Clark. That's Bud.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like someone who'd be like 89 years old.
Go Bud.
Now there are some other wide receivers. I mentioned them if you go check out my Dog Pound Daily article today. But Bryce Lance, who's the brother of Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, tall, lanky kid, did some really good things. And one of the other guys I talked about in this article, let's see here, was I can't think of the guys. Let's see here. It's not one of the pop up for me. There's a kid out of Georgia State. I think his last name is Hurst. Kind of he's kind of lanky. He's like 6'1", played at Valdosta State in Georgia. And one of these
Valdosta State.
Yeah. So anyway,
you got to learn to talk Southern.
I know. Well, then there's the kid from Indiana, not Cooper, but his teammate,
Yeah.
who's also a really good wide receiver, probably going to be there on that third day. Last name Sorrenta, or can't get that. I was trying to pull up the name right now, but I can't find it right at the moment. But
you got to get you a pronunciation guide.
It's not wanting to come up on my dang phone. I mean, we're so glued to these. All right, so wide receiver is definitely a need for the Brownies. Do you think Cedric Tillman has a chance still this next year? What are we thinking about? What do you think, Sam?
Maybe. I mean, you take what you can get, right? This
Yeah.
team has flaws, so you take what you can get. But I'd like to add, I know, still going off, one more guy, Sam Hecht. Heck, I don't know how to say this guy's name. Out of Kansas State, he's a center. Sam Hecht, I believe.
Hecht, yep.
You need center is one of the positions I feel like you could get some value out of right now. And so I think if you want to look that way, he's probably day 2, day 3. Let me rephrase. He is day 2, day 3. I'm not sure where he'd fall, but he could be someone you could look at. But Cedric Tillman, he's probably got one more year. If he doesn't prove himself this year, he's probably gone.
He's your number 3 this year. Jerry Judy's 1, first round draft pick 2, Tillman 3, Bond 4, and the Wallace kid, the punt returner.
Yes.
He's 6. So you've got your 2 and your 5. You got to fill in somehow for this draft. Oh no, change that. Corley, I forgot about Corley. He's your 5.
Yeah.
So you really, you go wide receiver at 6. Your room's pretty much set. I mean, Tillman has shown flashes, but the injury bug is a problem. So you bring in more wide receivers in training camp, see how it all works out.
Yeah,
and they'll hold on to Dylan Gabriel till then because there's always quarterback injuries. If somebody wants them, they'll take them. Hell, they got a 5th round draft pick for the little Kenny Pickett, who was still hurt when he got traded. They got a 5th round pick for him. So that's how desperate we are with quarterbacks. Because this is a desperate quarterback league because it just goes to show you Kirk Cousins gets money.
Oh, it's crazy what happened today.
Guaranteed to a team that's going to take Mendoza.
Smart, one of the nicest and smartest football players. I know he was a 5th round draft pick back in the day. They were talking about a local radio here in Columbus today about him, and I agree. It's fascinating.
Well, the reason Sam's talking about center is because our head coach brought up the fact that he thought Elton Jenkins would make a better guard than a center. So I would personally think he would make a better center than a guard, and you draft a guard. But if you're going to draft a center, Sam suggested a good one. I would go with Brian Parker out of Duke.
Okay.
If you're going to draft a center.
He's one of the guys who's come up on my research. He's definitely someone who will get you some good production in that center role.
Now, Lance and I talked about Elton Jenkins. He's really high. And what Lance said about Elton, and you guys have already kind of talked about this a little bit, but his versatility is off the charts, and he really loves the fact
they're all versatile.
Well, they're all
Howard
versatile.
Could play. Howard could start the season at left tackle.
Lance said,
right tackle.
I don't know. Lance is I know you've watched a lot of film too. He was just really high on the Jenkins kid, saying that in his mind, he was the most of all that group, that he could really mix and match him. So, but I liked your ideas about going center. Joel Bitonio, it sounds like he's not coming back.
I don't know. I listened to Andrew Berry talking about it, and because I actually listened to what he says, he didn't definitively say Joel Bitonio is gone. We haven't heard a thing about Joel Bitonio. He hadn't been linked to any teams. Wyatt Teller was linked to the Texans a week before he signed. So I don't know what's going on there.
Lance is when I talked to him last night, he was telling me that the people that he's been surrounded by and people in the building, and I know people in the building are he's not. Well,
nobody's saying a word.
No, they're not saying much, and they said they are, like you've already said time and time again. The organization is tight-lipped, but Lance did say that Coach Monken is not quite of the same cloth as some of the, his, Stefanski.
Yeah, he wants
whatnot,
a fullback.
and that he's going to. We will know how he feels pretty easily. So
good. Then everybody will complain that he curses too much.
What do you think about the tight end? Now, we talked a little bit about tight ends last night. Lance and I were talking about, like, he thinks that, then you've talked about this, and we need a tight end. So who are some of the tight ends?
Max Clare, Ohio State. There's a kid named Roush. I believe he's out of Stanford.
Yes.
Big guy.
You
need that number 2 guy who can block and also catch passes, because you got Fannin, who's going to do that. Then you've got the other tight ends they've signed. Blake Hart they re-signed.
Yeah.
And the Stoll kid, he's more your inline blocking type guy and special teamer. So you need that kind of big guy who can run routes and also block.
What about so Sam, what about the linebacker sort of defensive end positions? There's anybody popping up? Because
we got to find we got to find a replacement for Espinoza.
Sam, is there anybody there that you see?
There was one guy. He's more of a depth guy, Tyler Oyendim, D-line out of Texas A&M. He's definitely more of a depth guy rather than a kind of like big starter guy. But he'll get consistent play, and I think especially with defensive line where the Browns have struggled consistently for years now, he's someone who I think can definitely produce what you need, which is just solid, good reps. And if you ever need him. And so I don't have my defensive line.
That's okay. I can come back too if you find somebody.
I don't have it pulled up, so I'll pull it up in a second.
That's fine. Sam, Steve, what do you like? Anybody else out
there?
Well,
they've only had one guy in who's a defensive end for their top 30 visits, and that was R. Mason Graham of Oklahoma.
Yes. Okay.
So, I take those visits seriously, because they are more than likely they are on the Browns' big board.
Yes.
I mean, that's why this Markel Bell tackle from Miami, he's developmental, but they had him in. But 2-year starter at left tackle, never allowed a sack. He could be your second tackle that you draft on day 3. I'm always intrigued when they bring in certain players for top 30 visits. I mean, that's something you got to pay attention to. Of course, they brought in every wide receiver known to man. So that tells me they're going wide receiver at 6.
Okay.
Or they're getting ready to go early 39 with a wide receiver. But they're going to get a wide receiver day 1, day 2. Maybe 2. I agree with Sam. I would not hesitate. Like I said last year, they'd take 2 running backs. Worked out pretty damn good.
You think they should say wide receivers?
I wouldn't hesitate to take 2 wide receivers.
Oh, I'd love it. Yeah, totally. I think that would be something very different that the Browns we've never seen. Like, historically, you go back and look at these drafts, we've never done that ever. Like, especially let's say if it was that 6th and the 24 pick, boy, I don't think they're going to sit there.
I don't do that. I don't think they'll do that.
No. And I don't think they're going to, honestly, if you were to ask me right now, and I want your take, do you think that they sit at 6 or do they trade back? I think they're going to trade back.
Just depends on how the board goes.
True.
If their highest rated player is there at 6, they'll draft him. I'm sure it doesn't hurt that the media is in infatuation with Tyler Simpson, because you still can't convince me that the Arizona Cardinals are going to go into the NFL season week 1 with Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback.
I want to bring him
sorry.
up. Well, I want to bring him up
because sorry, it just does not compute. It's illogical.
No, it doesn't, and that's what I want to get into, because there was one interesting take, and somebody wrote about it, and it kind of goes to what you were talking about here, specifically with Jacoby Brissett, that he will become available, and that could he be the guy that comes back to Cleveland?
Sure. I mean, he'd be a great veteran backup. Then you'd have Sanders, Jacoby Brissett, and Dylan Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson would be it would probably be, they'd probably get rid of Dylan Gabriel by
You'd
that
have
time.
to get rid of Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, if Brissett came up. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to start. He's a win one, lose two kind of guy.
Yeah.
But if he had better weapons and a better offensive line, he might do a little better. We don't know what he would do under a Todd Moken offense.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl. I'm kidding.
Well, Shador's made the Pro Bowl.
Oh God. Yeah. Did he take part in the three-legged race during the Pro Bowl? I didn't.
All right.
See it.
Final thoughts on this evening.
By the way, it doesn't matter. Dylan Gabriel's not in camp. He's not supposed to be there. I mean, is Myles Garrett there?
Yeah. No, he's speeding through Wayne County right now.
No, actually, his girlfriend took a picture of him petting a goat somewhere. I think he's in Africa because he still does that Waterboy project.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm glad he's. Yeah, Sam.
Last time I checked, Myles Garrett isn't a golf player, so I don't think we have to worry about him speeding or anything.
Well, what about Tiger? Him and Tiger should get together. I think
that's
Tiger
what he was talking about.
I don't think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm glad Tiger decided. I'm glad he decided to step away because I sure the hell wouldn't want him driving away.
They said he was talking to the president. Did you hear that story, cockamamie story, that he was on the phone with the president when he had the accident? I'm like, what is going on with the world?
He was going for a pardon early.
I guess. I suppose. I don't even want to. Like I said, I'm trying to ignore everything. The only thing I'm watching on social media is all this la stuff that we're talking about. But all right, Sam, final thoughts before we say goodbye to the fine folks.
Yeah, now that I have my defensive lineman stuff, I'd say Dominique Orange out of Iowa State. He's got a cool nickname. He's called Big Citrus.
Big Citrus. Oh, I love that.
I like it.
He's big. He's 322 pounds and he's got pretty good arms as well. But what I would say is he's good against double teams. And so if you're double teaming Myles Garrett, then he can be a problem if you're not careful in that interior line. And if you decide to double team him because he's just big and strong, then that leaves Myles Garrett wide open. So I think he'd be good in tandem. And then one more guy, Caleb Proctor out of Southern Louisiana is another guy I'd like to see.
Caleb Proctor, not okay.
Yeah, he's a bit smaller. He's definitely more of a he's definitely not a huge guy, but he's a bit smaller, but he's very versatile. And I've also noticed that he's got a lot of like that kind of interior linemen where they're kind of quicker than they are more physical, and they throw off those big giant centers and interior linemen. So I'd say either of those guys could be someone you look at day 2, day 3 as a pretty decent pick if you want to try and fill out your defensive line.
I love it. Steve, final thoughts on this evening's show.
Can we stop with the Caden Proctor in round 1, please, for the Browns? They've already got that guy on their roster. His name's DeJuan Jones, and he's getting a 3rd-round salary. I mean, the guy is so over. I've seen enough. I live in a state with 2 SEC schools, one I'm a graduate of. All you get during college Saturdays in any state in the SEC is SEC football.
Yes.
I've seen this kid play. He is so overrated. Just because he's big and tall does not make him a great tackle. We already got one. His name is DeJuan Jones, same size.
Did you see DeJuan Jones playing basketball today?
I hope he doesn't play basketball. Stop.
Well, unfortunately, and it's the crazy part. He's lost weight. Supposedly, they weigh he's down to
this
like
time every year. He always loses weight. Last year at this time, he was down 30 pounds.
Well, it worries me is to see the film of him in a high school gym playing hoops and slamming the ball. All I'm thinking is, holy crap, you're gonna roll the knee or do something, and you're gonna be done.
You can't count on him. He at best, if he stays healthy, he's going to be their swing tackle at best. Yeah. But you got to draft a couple tackles. You have to.
Well, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm going down 71, and I'm drafting all those guys from Ohio State. I Avril, Reese,
Can't do
Tate.
That, John. They only have 2 first-round picks. They don't have 15.
Just get some more. Go trade the rest of the picks and come up. Take half the Buckeyes team there, I would be.
Shadur's a Pro Bowler. I bet you can get a first rounder for him.
Ooh, there you go. How about that for a trade?
Hey, Shador's in the building. He's working out, man. I'm a By the way, Shador's changed to number 2, so I have my number 12 jersey. I have to mark out the number 1 now on the jersey.
Why you don't buy player jerseys?
I had to. It was a Christmas
Especially
gift.
when you're over the age of 26. Get you a nice polo.
Now, the last one I got was, I told you guys this, Brady Quinn. I had Brady Quinn's jersey also next to Shador. So, we know how that worked out back in the day. So, what can I say? I'm a sucker. All right.
Yeah, you are.
Everybody, thank you for joining us. Happy Easter Sunday. I hope everybody has a good holiday. Stay safe.
For church, you might be waking up early. So Hemisphere Coffee Roasters, wake yourself up.
Absolutely.
I'll be waking up early Sunday doing tax returns.
And never mind, you might need 2 Hemisphere Coffee Roasters for that.
Oh, I'll
Steve,
be having
just to
3
give you a heads
cups of
up,
coffee.
I'll be coming in late Sunday because we're going to be up in that state up north visiting my son, whose birthday is coming up. By the way, shout out to all my family. Clay, my stepson, has his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to Clay.
Happy birthday, Clay.
Yeah. And then next week on Tuesday, both my son Alec and my soon-to-be son-in-law Reggie have birthdays as well on April 7th. So happy birthday to them. We're going to be going up to Michigan to celebrate
April
Alec's
7th,
birthday.
Brown's first OTA.
There you go. Yeah, I saw that record that came out earlier, and they said that the mini camp is the first weekend in June.
Yeah, because they have a new. Well, yeah, but they start early because they have a new head coach.
Okay.
They start a week early. All teams with new head coaches start a week early.
Oh, I did not know that.
We'll be getting reports of how everybody looked stretching.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And a shout out to the Columbus Aviators who have their home opener here at the old Columbus Crew Stadium. They are the new UFL. I know it's not real football according to Steve, but we do want to give them a shout out.
I've seen enough bad football in my life. Why would I want to turn it on and see more bad football?
They did a good job last week. Now they have Tony Fields, former Cleveland Brown, playing linebacker.
Oh, Tony the touchdown maker.
Tony the touchdown maker. They have him here. Now the funny thing is, Sam, and I think I've already mentioned this to you guys off air, but I talked to one of their leaders today. I'm Tim. Shout out to Tim. Thank you for talking to me this morning. Tim reminded me that the Columbus Aviators are actually living and practicing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for the entire season. So even though they're playing as the Columbus Aviators and representing the Columbus Aviators, they are basically.
How the hell does that work?
Well,
I'd be surprised if they're using the star, to be honest.
Jerry
would have no trouble.
No, they do. No, and actually, I was going to tell you that, and I don't know if this is undisclosed information, and hopefully, but Tim, the guy I spoke to this morning from the UFL, said that they're using some portion of Jerry's World, practice facilities or whatever, because he mentioned Jerry's World. That's like, oh, okay, cool.
That's such a Jerry Jones thing to do, by the way.
Yeah. So, but a shout out to those guys. There's a lot of players that have played in the NFL, and I'm trying to get some, plugging here for our Fanatical Elfz Network with our new team, because I know people out there that are watching and listening to us right now love football, and I know it's not your brand of football, Steve, but maybe it's a brand for somebody else. So, and Sam, maybe since you live there, Sam lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, maybe there'll be an opportunity for you to touch base with some of those players, like Ted Ginn Jr., that former Ohio State Buckeye, who's the head coach of the team now. And us here in Columbus love us some Ohio State Buckeyes. So
obviously.
All right, everybody. Good night. Steve, good night. Have a great evening. Good luck on your taxes.
Good night, everybody.
Sam, see you later, buddy. Go
Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. If I can find my music. We're out of here. Goodbye.